Parents play a significant role in shaping their children's characters and abilities. They are the ones that initially help them learn ways to go with life, acquire social skills, develop trust, and manage emotions whenever they are dealing with difficult situations. Yet, the narcissistic parents contribute to the total opposite of what was mentioned. To fully understand how it may remarkably affect their offspring's personal growth and maturity, you must learn the 10 things that narcissistic parents do to their children. Let's begin. Number 1. Narcissistic parents tell, but they don't listen. Narcissistic parents believe that they always hold the upper hand in every decision, so they do all the talking. Although children and parents can come to terms and agree to disagree, narcissistic parents often control their children and shut down what they have to say. Narcissistic parents don't listen to their children's opinions and feelings because they don't think these are valid. Narcissists do not attend to their children's emotional needs and have zero empathy towards them. The relative effect of this is that children may also be neglectful towards others. Number 2. Narcissists don't acknowledge their children's uniqueness. Narcissistic parents demand you to meet specific standards of how you are supposed to fit in their imagined perfect structure to the extent that it deprives you of being yourselves. Your uniqueness is your identity, and it is a crucial factor in one's career and personality. If your parents support and acknowledge it, you could express yourself more freely. However, judgment is central and dominant in narcissistic parents, and as their child, you are the receiving party of that. You always fear showing who you are mainly because young children do not want to upset their parents. Number 3. Discipline via fear, shame, and guilt. Narcissistic parents have significantly awful ways to discipline their children because they usually apply it with resentment, disrespect, and bitterness. When their children make mistakes, narcissistic parents verbally and emotionally abuse them, which generates feelings of fear, shame, and guilt. These things put an end to a child's developing confidence. The humiliation and blaming experienced while growing up make the children shell off themselves from their peers and other family members. Number 4. Narcissistic parents want you to present them as good parents. Because they don't want to be criticized and like to be embodied as righteous human beings, narcissistic parents expect their children to characterize them as decent and ethical parents in public. And so they show off a different personality outside, which they become thoughtful and loving towards their children and the other people around them. A child's mind will think that pretending might be a normal thing to do. More specifically, the child will likely acquire the same behavior as his parents. Number 5. Becoming narcissistic. As a young child, you adapt to your parents' behavior. You internalize so much of their qualities and behaviors, and what you observe in them is what you assume is proper and typical for any human being to do. And so, if narcissism is practiced precisely at home, you are more likely to grow as a narcissist as well. In addition to that, becoming narcissistic like your parents goes by the saying, if you can't beat them, join them. As a result of toxic narcissistic parents, anxious children will religiously believe and think that if they are on top and make sure that they are so good at everything they do, nobody can make them feel unwanted and unfortunate again. Number 6. Favoritism. Narcissistic parents tend to select their favorite child, the one they think is their reincarnation and has all the good qualities he inherited from them. This child is not saved as he will grow up to be spoiled, pampered, self-entitled, and equally abusive to neglected children. But usually the favorite child has very little chance to escape from this abuse because they can be caught up by the idea of gratitude towards their parents as they have been the ones that are favored. Number 7. They make their children an extension of themselves. Depending on how many children they have, the narcissistic parents switch from time to time on who will be the favorite child. This happens because they see the potential of this particular child that they believe will fulfill their failed dream when they are younger. Even though this child got supported, the parents' intention was wrong. This toxicity leads to the point that children become the extension of their parents and will fail to create their own identity. Number 8. Low standards in relationships and partnerships. This usually happens when a narcissistic father has a daughter. The daughter will not be able to set a high standard of a potential partner because she has no one to have as a preference. It was supposed to come from the image of her father, and by so, she will not be empowered to correct people from treating her awfully. Because of the poor treatment that she experienced from her father, she will profoundly believe that these are the treatment she deserves from a partner or even peers. Invalidated, silenced, and neglected. Number 9. Sabotage their children's success. Narcissistic parents are highly known to be envious of their sons and daughters. They believe that their children's independence is entirely a threat to the control they have for them. Narcissistic parents also vigorously treat their children as their competitors. For instance, if a young girl is physically and mentally growing into a woman, her narcissistic mother will think that she's getting older, and all the attention will turn to her daughter. This will steer to one of her harmful dispositions. The narcissistic mother develops insignificance and extreme jealousy, especially if her husband is fond of her daughter. And so, she takes comfort in dictating to the child what she should wear and how she should act around people without taking over her mother's life. Number 10. Trauma. Because of the horrible treatment and the terrible and abusive experience that they get from their narcissistic parents, the children develop trauma during the process and grow up. Even if they manage to get away from their parents, the pain is incurred in them forever. The child subconsciously feels insecure and doubtful of everyone and everything. They will avoid social interaction and formulate intense anxiety within them as they begin to question their worth. And worse things to worst, they might pass on this trauma to their future children. Dealing with a person under narcissistic disorder is already an overwhelming thing to do. More so if you are an innocent child and you have narcissistic parents, as they mostly have an influence and impact on your life. One way to handle this situation is by understanding that your parents are disturbed and that how you were treated reflects who they are, and it's not you. It is also essential that you are reminded that you are not alone and that you bring hope to the future generation together with other victims. Give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more narcissist-related content. Watch this informative video right here.